All right. And can you see my screen, Marlene?
Yep.
Beautiful. All right. So a couple things. So just start off today's class. This is all about planning for 2022. Now, I was going to put together a deck for all this, and honestly, it just would be exhausting to look at. So what I wanted to do was actually share some of the resources that we utilize to start to put together really game plans. The one thing that I really like to stress to business owners is that as business owners, we always need to be learning. And I think that goes without saying. Most of us are constantly trying to innovate and do something different. But big picture wise, when we look at this, especially in marketing, I am constantly educating myself. Every single week, if I had to put a number on it, I would give it at least 2 to 4, maybe 5 hours a week. I am literally spending learning something new or learning about updated trends and stuff. And so, really, what I wanted to do today was not only kind of go over some of these trends that we're seeing, but really hopefully inspire some business owners to look at some of these resources, especially from a marketing perspective. Nothing that I'm going to share today is rocket science. Nothing here is, should hopefully be over your head. This is all practical education that I really think as business owners we need. You need to be looking at relatively often, and you need to really be pulling some nuggets out of this and applying them to your business. The biggest opportunity we see with most business owners is that they take classes like this, they subscribe to blogs, or they actually do take the time to maybe look at this stuff, but then applying it somehow either is too difficult, or and that makes sense, but they just don't apply what they're learning to their business, and then it's really just a waste of time. So hopefully today we can inspire. Hopefully today we can educate you guys, give you some direction, share some resources, and hopefully this is going to make a rock star 2022 for you. So the first resource that we're going to talk about here, HubSpot is a phenomenal platform. We talk really highly about it. I don't personally use it. I've gotten a lot of questions about that. Yes, we are certified in it, but no, we don't use it. We use a different application for our business that's more marketing centric. But for small business owners, this is a great, what's called a general agency, but they really apply and help really all businesses. So it's not like they're focused on just chiropractors or doctors or attorneys or, HVAC technicians or whatever. It's a general agency, meaning that it applies generally to businesses. So there's going to be some features of it that you use and some features that you don't. But the one thing that I love about HubSpot, their education. I'll tell you, as an agency, as a general agency, they really go above and beyond as to educate small businesses and to provide tools, resources, and an understanding of certain aspects of marketing. Obviously, the ones that fit within their wheelhouse. But again, they provide a ton of tools as well that can, I think, really help you guys grow into 2022 and beyond. So we're going to start off, and this is just an article that they recently published here. So again, HubSpot, you can see here, it's something that they syndicated out. But the thing that I like about it here, and we're not going to go read this verbatim, but what we're going to do is we're going to focus on, what they feel and what their research tells them is going to be the hot button items for 2022 moving forward. So looking at this was done via survey, and so B2B, B2C. So they're really working in a diverse marketplace. The biggest channels, and these are in no particular order. So again, what matters to a business, and this is what I always want to stress, it doesn't matter what resource you look at, you really have to take everything that you read with a grain of salt and apply it to your business. You know your business best. One of the things that I tell clients is that, as we're going through things, and you'll hear me say it today, is that you have to know your customer. You have to. If you don't know who your target demographic is, or who your target client is, or who, your ideal client, let's just say, you'll hear all these phrases bounced around, but if you don't know who that is, it's going to make it really tough to dial in your marketing plan and to dial in your strategy. So again, I guess maybe first piece of advice, if you haven't done this already, is really take a holistic look at your business and ask yourself, who is my target client? Now, does that mean, and this is often a confusing part, most people say, well, do I just market to that person? No, of course not. Again, that doesn't mean you're not going to work with other demographics or other people. That's just saying that the ideal client, the one that either makes you the most money or the one that you want to work with most, your ideal client, that's the one we want to focus our efforts on, or at least most of our efforts on. You can work with anybody. And again, we have that as an agency as well. So first thing that we're going to talk about here, marketing channel wise, is going to be social. That's, the number one thing that I would say the vast majority of business owner question wise come to us from. or 4, because there's a lot of unknowns out there. I think this week alone, I think I've fielded probably 10, maybe 15, questions on Snapchat, TikTok, and just some of these other ones that are out there. And I can tell you this, the answer to this, it doesn't matter what the question is, the answer to it is always going to be, well, who is our target demographic? Who are we appealing to? Because that dictates what social media platform we're on. Example, if my target demographic is, let's just say 35 to 45 years old, business owner, what channel most likely am I going to be on? It's probably not Snapchat, probably not TikTok. Now, I may have profiles on there, but I probably don't spend the majority of my time there. I'm probably going to be on Facebook. That's the era that we grew up in, or that demographic grew up in. And so that's going to be most applicable to me. Now, again, if my target demographic's 24 and under, man, that really opens me up, because I might be on Snapchat. I might be doing targeted ads on TikTok. I mean, it's really the dynamic visuals. You also have to look at those demographics and ask yourself, well, what appeals to them? What do they resonate with? What captures their attention? If we're in that 18 or let's just say 24 and younger crowd, they're really influenced by key visuals. They need, awesome pictures. They need fun, good energy. They need that dynamic graphic to really move them. Now that 30, let's say 24 and older crowd, maybe a little bit more experienced, a little bit in a different maybe career path. I mean, different journey in their life, let's just say. Those, you might tend to be a little bit further in your career. So you might be more keen on reading. So you might have more content-based advertising, or focus on more content-based platforms. So like I said, it's really, really, really important to know your demographic, because that's going to really drive and dictate what you do, how you do it, and where you do it at. So big ones, obviously, Facebook still remains king. If you needed some, validation behind that, Facebook and Instagram are still really even though they're separate platforms. When we look at the Meta, Meta now, when you look at that, that's still going to be a dominant advertising platform. You're going to reach more people. The prices have gone up slightly, and this is normal with anything. Like TikTok right now, dirt cheap. But again, there's a lot of people on it. There's just not a ton of engagement. They're still building their numbers. They're still trying to figure out as a platform where they live in this world. Facebook's doing the same thing. They're still trying to figure out where they live in this world. So that evolution will increase prices over time. But right now, I have some businesses that are getting in on TikTok and they're killing it. They're doing great. Same thing with Snap and some of these other ones. I have other clients, like insurance clients. Nextdoor is fantastic for them. That community-based, like local, Nextdoor just thrives in that environment. So again, you really just take a holistic look at the business, find out what demographic you support. And then if you have questions, please feel free to give us a call. I am more than happy to answer a 2-minute question. Shoot me an email. I mean, goodness, anything to help you guys out. So social media, going to be a big deal this year. I will also say too, with social media, get really comfortable with getting granular. It's not enough just to run ads anymore. You got to comment, you got to engage, you got to share with groups. That's obviously geared at Facebook. But really pay attention to that, because that's going to be a huge driving force in the future, is that whole community. So again, you're going to hear that word a lot too. Community-based marketing is going to be a big deal. Next up, we're going to talk about websites. You hear me get on soapboxes on this constantly. Websites are just, it's the foundation of your digital presence. Whenever you talk to somebody, oftentimes their first experience with you as a business is through the website. And so you need to make sure that you're putting your best foot forward. I can't stress that enough. A lot of the times, and this is always my favorite, you walk into a doctor's office, a chiropractor, a lawyer even. The amount of money that's put into a physical location is insane. Even our office and our overhead is, again, we put a pretty penny into this, right? Businesses really fail to, I think, put the same amount of effort and energy into their websites. And that's a crime. Honestly, you're really not doing yourself any favors. So I would encourage, it doesn't have to be necessarily a monetary investment, but definitely a let's say a proactive approach would be in your best interest. What I want you and encourage you guys to take a look at with your websites is this: content is king. Everything we talk about today is going to be ad and content based. All of these down here, again, it has to do with one or the other, okay? So when we look at a website, the biggest thing that you have to understand is that you're appealing to two audiences. And this is something that people lose sight of for whatever reason. You have Google on one hand, and you have consumers or your target audience on the other hand. We've got to appeal to both, because without Google, we're not going to reach any clients. Without clients, well, we have no need for Google. So, I mean, they really do play hand in hand. So when we're talking about this, we need to establish ourselves as experts in our field. And so what does that mean? Well, if I'm a plumber, obviously I get it. How many ways can you talk about drain cleaning or, water heater installation? If you're an attorney, how many ways can you talk about dog bite injury or car accidents or this or that? I get it. I really do. And believe me, as marketers, we do it thousands of times. So I would encourage you to really sit down, because it's all about your key differentiators. What we're not trying to do, I don't want to copy the guy down the road. Even as a marketing agency, I don't want to copy the guy down the road and pull his content, make it my own and all. And I don't want to do that. I want to talk about what drives me. I want to talk about my perspectives, because that's what makes me an individual. That's what humanizes my brand. Otherwise, I'm no different than these corporate marketing tools, all over the place. And then at that point, you're buying on price. You're not buying on service. You're not buying on, what we bring to the table. So really think about that, and even an average plumber. I mean, I get it. Drain cleaning's drain cleaning, but, do you show up on time? I mean, your commitment to satisfaction, how you, treat clients. I mean, there's so many different ways we can go about this. You really just got to get out of your own way, and you got to learn to talk about your products and services. The other thing I teach clients is you can't rank if you don't talk about it. If we don't talk about drain cleaning, I promise you're not going to rank for drain cleaning. That's a really, simple concept to think about. So make it easy on yourself. Put some effort into this. Sit down. You're not going to write it in a day. This is something that, if you look at my website, we have gone back and back. And in fact, I'm literally redoing my website again right now. And that's not because I think it's bad. It's because I need to innovate. I need to stay on top of the game, because guess what? Other marketing companies are. So if I want to compete and I want to be a player in this arena, guess what I have to do? I have to put that effort in. So think about, again, easy ones, FAQs. Those are just super, super simple. So think about FAQs, what you could write about there. Top 10 questions people ask you on a daily basis. That's so easy to write content for. So think outside the box and really focus on your website and focus on content. Now with content too, we're also going to talk about blogs. Most people have no concept of what a blog really is or what it serves, the purpose that it serves. Most people think that they write a blog on their website and all of a sudden their website should be ranking. That's not how that works at all. There are two different types of blogs out there. There's on-site blogs and off-site blogs. The difference in the easiest thing to talk about with that, an on-site blog supports inner core content. So if I have like an example on our website, if I have a page on search engine optimization, okay, so we have core content there, looks, feels good, everything's the way it needs to be. Then I write a blog that talks about maybe a Google algorithm update or something, again, SEO related. And what I'm going to want to do is tie those two together so Google knows, hey, look, we have this whole page over here and it looks really good. And then we're supporting it over here with more new, updated, fresh content. So we want to put those two together. That's what a blog is going to do on an on-site blog. It's going to educate it. It gives fresh, new perspective on things. When you interlink those, really simple. Take that keyword, take what, if it's on SEO, anything SEO or search engine optimization, I'm going to take that word, I'm going to highlight it, and I'm going to interlink it over to the page that I have on my website for SEO. That way Google makes that connection. So again, really simple ways to do this, not rocket science, but it's all in time. You're going to learn this and you're going to apply these different things in time. Don't just go out today and say, I'm going to go write 10 blogs, I'm going to interlink them to core pages, and I'm going to do exactly what Chris says, and I'm going to start ranking tomorrow. Promise you that's not going to happen that way. The other one is offsite blogs. So we got onsite, we talked about that. Now we have offsite. What's an offsite blog? Offsite blogs, I want you guys to look at them like this. They are credibility factors for your business. What I mean by that is simple. When you look at Google and you ask yourself, well, how does Google prioritize business A over business C, B, and C? How does that work? How does Google know that business A is better than B and C? Well, they don't know that they're better, but what they do look at are ranking signals, or we'll just call them, I call it link juice, but they look at various ranking signals through their algorithm to say, okay, well, we don't know business A from B from C, But we do know that business A, they got all of these people over here that are linking to them. So, these guys wouldn't link to them if they weren't a legit business. So we're going to prioritize them because business B and C, they don't have anybody linking to them. They must not be legit. Again, it's an oversimplification, but I want you guys to really resonate that, really let that sink in for a minute. So link building, if you've ever heard of that concept of a link building strategy is super, super simple. All we're looking at here is we're taking blogs, right? So offsite blogs, we're taking those and we're sending them over to bloggers, we're sending them over to different channels, networks, so on and so forth. And when those businesses publish that blog, that's a little badge of honor, let's just say, for Google. They look at that and say, well, this business over here wouldn't link to this business if that business wasn't legit. Let's do that a few 100,000 times. And oh my goodness, now you're a rock star. The combination of the two, so a well-played website, a content-rich website, followed by some dynamic, well-placed backlinks, that is a recipe for success for SEO. That is what, and again, among many other things, but that is the foundation of any successful SEO plan. The ones that come in, the companies that come in and say, oh, well, I'll optimize your Google My Business page and I'll guarantee you first page rankings. Come on. I mean, if I could do that, trust me, I'd be a millionaire. I'd be on a beach somewhere and I'd have done it. But that's not how this works. It takes time, effort, energy. It's an evolving process. It's something that's absolutely needed moving forward. So on-site, off-site blogs, we talked about that. Let's move into email marketing. Email marketing, oldie but goodie. This is something that it's like the gift that keeps giving. If you're not doing email marketing, you should really think about it in 2022. Now, a lot of people, they're of the mindset and they say, you know what? I don't like bothering people. I don't want to harass people, this, that. They come up with every reason or excuse not to do it. But statistically speaking, if you could grow your business by 10 or 15% this year, by just keeping in contact with your clients regularly, by just making sure that people know that you're still there and you still exist, would you not do that? I would, and I do. So really think about email marketing. Again, let's call it pro tips. So some pro tips on this. Don't go crazy with your email marketing. Don't start blowing people up, sending 10, 15, 20 emails a day or a week or whatever. Be conservative. I tell clients that have never done an email marketing campaign before, start with one a month. There's nothing wrong with that. Start with one and let's move up from there. You have to find that tolerance level from what your clients want to hear or how often they want to hear from you. Don't be afraid to poll your clients. Ask them, how often should I send stuff out? What would you like to know about? Let your clients be the guide for you on email marketing. The goal of it is simple, just to keep your business top of mind. And I made a joke the other day. I did one of these presentations and I said, you know what? If Bed Bath & Beyond sends me one more email, I swear to God, I'm just going to lose my mind. They have since been unsubscribed because I will tell you, they sent an exorbitant number of emails out. Why? Because it's the holidays. I get it, retail store. But I'm telling you, no joke, 3 to 5 emails seemingly a day. It's obnoxious. Should be illegal, but it's obnoxious if nothing else. So that gone. That was too much for me. Now, other companies that I hear from once a month, if I'm not even interested at the time, I delete it. But do I unsubscribe? Nope. Do I read it? Maybe, maybe not. But again, I don't unsubscribe because it's not obnoxious. But when it becomes obnoxious, that's when you get unsubscribes. And that's what you need to be mindful of. You got to pay attention to that unsubscribe number. Next up, omnichannel marketing. That's a really fancy way for just really making sure that all of your marketing works in synergy. Easy concept, harder to deploy than it might sound. What happens is this. All too often you have business owners out there that they're the catalyst for everything. And this is actually a core concept of how and why we founded our agency the way that we did. Omnichannel marketing works like this. So you got a website as the foundation, then you have social media, email marketing, all these other different channels, paid ads, so on and so forth. All of these different things over here, these are what, ultimately is painting the picture. They're drawing people into your website, right? Well, if those ads or those posts or that content that you're creating out there isn't really on the same page as your website, well, that's a disconnect. That can potentially create a bad consumer experience. It even applies down to I don't care if you're sending out Valpak ads or you're running a commercial on Cox or whatever the case may be. A lot of the times that synergy is not there. And so people end up, they go to a website, they didn't get that great user experience that they saw in the commercial. They saw this commercial where everybody's happy and unicorns and glitter. Then they get to the website and it's a train wreck. It's hard to navigate. They don't find the information that they saw in the commercial, and so they leave. So you really, I think omnichannel marketing is going to become a more coined term in the future, but making sure that everything works. It's one channel, Omni. We're all working in synergy to one goal. That's really the point of omnichannel marketing. So again, we can talk more about that if you guys have questions offline. Video marketing, not going to spend a ton of time on that. I think that's pretty self-explanatory. If you've ever taken my classes before, or really if you've, just paid attention to really anything marketing related, video marketing is amazing, simply put. So I always look at it like this. You got half the population out there that's willing to read. They like to read content. They like to educate themselves. They love that stuff, right? They're really not video watchers. Then you have the other half that are video watchers. They don't want to read a single thing. If you don't tell it to them, they ain't going to know it. So you got to appeal to both audiences. I tell clients this on all of your pages. So if you're selling products, great. You should be doing a video on each product. If you're a service-based business like a plumber, or HVAC technician, or an attorney, you should be talking about your services that you offer and what makes you different. Again, you should be writing about it, and you should be doing a video on it. That's really going to be the recipe for success there. You can do video ads. Those are fantastic, especially on platforms like TikTok, LinkedIn, even LinkedIn, that's pretty good. But TikTok, Snap, all of the Instagram little videos and stuff. These are all great places to upload that stuff because you really want dynamic, captivating, just attention-grabbing content. And that's going to come from a video. Even on websites, again, it's a great engagement feature. People they'll stop, they'll watch it. As long as they're not 55 minutes in length, you talking about drain cleaning, like that's not going to work. Keep your videos short, concise. We want almost little teasers. So maybe 30 seconds to a minute and a half, maybe 2 minutes if you have a really awesome service or something that you do really different. So food for thought, keep them short, keep them sweet, talk about stuff, make them frequent, create a YouTube channel, throw your videos out there. It's anything to create and get that visibility. Next up, let's talk about influencer marketing. I know I'm going quick, guys, because again, I know time-wise, I want to make sure that we keep this within a reasonable amount of time and we open it up to questions. But influencer marketing, don't overthink that. This requires a lot of hands-on to do it the right way. So influencer marketing can be exceptional. It can really can make or break a business. Let's just say that. Influencer marketing can drive a lot of traffic, or it could be a complete waste of money. It really depends on how well you're researching your influencer and what your agreement is with them. I would say influencer marketing requires a little bit more of a conversation. So if you do have questions on that, I would say definitely ask. There's a lot of potential with it. So I love influencer marketing. The key or core here is you got to research your influencers. You got to know who subscribes to them, who follows them, who do they have influence over, right? Like for me, for marketing, I really wouldn't go to a mom blog and have them do a pitch on my products or services. Not to say women can't be business owners or that I wouldn't work with a woman. That's not it at all. It's just probably not what their audience is really looking for. They're not looking for marketing tips on a mom blog. Now, what would I do? I would look for an influencer in the business space, maybe something business planning, legal, like business attorneys, things like that. Those type of influencers would be extremely beneficial to me because they have business owners that follow them, and that would be a great market for me. So you got to think outside the box. You got to think about who can these people connect you with? Why would you want to be a part of their audience? Well, it's because they're buyers. If I'm a pest control company, I mean, mom blogs would be great. A lot of women engage with influencers. A lot of women statistically will interact with influencers. And so that's where you're going to get the biggest bang for your buck. So again, think outside the box. Where could you utilize some of these things? And again, go online, go to Facebook, see how many people follow these guys and develop your own list. An influencer doesn't necessarily need to have 200,000 people that follow them. An influencer could have 5,000 people. If their demographic is so nailed down to what you're looking for, there you go, make a deal. Next up, search engine optimization. Again, to me, self-explanatory. To some business owners, not. So to really simplify it, search engine optimization is this. This is the art, and I'm going to call it an art because, again, it's not a science. We don't know exactly what Google's algorithm is. So the art of search engine optimization to me is staying abreast of the changes, the updates, everything that's going on with Google, trying to interpret what they're looking for and to create the best user experience possible. SEO is all about organic traffic. We want to make sure that we're driving the right person, the right client, the right potential client to that business. And we're doing that by, again, content creation, linking. There's a variety of things that we do in SEO to help influence the client or to influence the rankings online. So it's something that's absolutely needed in this world, especially for businesses. Roughly 70% of all traffic online clicks on organic listings versus paid. So again, that's a 70%, 70% of the population or your potential client base. And every business is different. I know there's going to be people out there that say, well, that's not true. All my stuff comes from here or there, whatever. We're just using general statistics. So statistically speaking, you're looking at roughly about 70% of the population clicking on organic traffic, which is the maps block and everything under that. And anything that's classified as an ad, so those little paid ad versions or paid ad listings up there, those are going to be a paid ad. That's about 30, give or take percent of the population. So SEO, huge dominant, huge driving force behind traffic. Big misconception that I always like to clarify with clients and put it out there. Any reputable SEO company, they're going to tell you up front, here's how long on average it takes us to get to the first page. And if anybody tells you you're going to be on the first page within 30 days, I just cut and run, because it's so, I can't say they can't do it, but I can tell you it would be very, 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 very difficult to do it. I have a number of mentors. I have a number of marketing companies and owners that I work with on a daily basis, that I network with. And I can tell you, these are some very, very, very talented people. And if they can't do it, believe me, I just don't think it can be done. There are, again, extenuating circumstances that can happen, but for most people, it can't. So anybody who says that, duck and run. Most SEO programs are going to take anywhere from 60 to really 180 days to start showing the fruits of the labor. And what I mean by that is, this is something that takes time. When you publish a blog, you don't see, it's not like I published blog A and I'm going to gain 5 positions. I published blog B, I'm going to gain 55 positions. Nobody has a crystal ball. Nobody can tell you that. But what we can tell you is that over time, we are going to start to see the influence of this. We're going to start to see the fruits of our labor. So that's why we always tell clients, give us 6 months to show you the light. The other thing that I stress too is that just because a client gets 5, 10, 20, 30, 50 keywords on the first page of Google, I can tell you your keyword cloud is going to be much, 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 much larger than that. This is going to something that, again, that's why it's not, you don't just do SEO for a year and then you're good, you're done. No, this is something that you'll do forever. It needs to be a part of your marketing plan. So with SEO, again, it's the gift that keeps giving. It'll continue to reward you and your business for, as long as you're in business, but it needs to be an investment. Next up is podcasts. Podcasts are awesome. If you got time to create the content, this is usually a little more difficult for most businesses. It's not just creation of the podcast, but the editing. It takes a lot of time for this. So for most of my small business owners, this is not in their wheelhouse. This is not something that, they have the time or ability to do. If you do, again, this could be a very, very awesome thing for you. Again, this is what helps people stand out. What does a podcast do? You're not reading from a script. You're really creating custom content. You're establishing yourself as an expert. You're bringing in different people to reaffirm that, again, they can be really awesome things. So again, we do some podcasts for some clients, and I would tell you, there's a lot of awesome things with that. So call us if you have any questions on it. We can kind of guide you. We have some resources in that arena as well. So if you're interested in that, let us know. And last but not least is word of mouth. I can tell you, word of mouth, grassroots, same thing. So again, word of mouth marketing is probably, in my opinion, one of the best marketing tools out there. It's also the most difficult. And that's because getting people to talk about your product, you would think, oh, well, people say good things about us all the time. That's fantastic. But consistently to find those rare people out there that are like serial networkers and stuff, they're very difficult to come by, and more so they're very difficult to keep focused or engaged on your business. So again, word of mouth marketing is fantastic. I like to focus more on grassroots. Grassroots is going to be stuff like the Chamber. Chamber is a phenomenal resource for networking, for just making that connection point. Even if you can, let's say you don't want to go out because of COVID or whatnot, or, whatever reason, doesn't matter. But, there's still means to reach out to businesses. Hey, you know what? My name's Chris. I'm a member of the Glendale Chamber. I just wanted to see, are you, up for grabbing a cup of coffee next week? I think our businesses have similar client bases. I think we could align ourselves together to help each other out. Little conversations like that, being that connector, that's where the Chamber really comes in. That's a great grassroots marketing effort. Other things I've seen, going door to door, dropping off flyers, pinning up a thing at Starbucks or in, a neighborhood little display board. There's just tons of resources, tons of areas out there, and word of mouth or grassroots is a really, really, really powerful tool. Those build loyal clients for a lifetime. So, food for thought. I would highly encourage you guys invest in that. And again, that's really more of a time than a monetary thing. Other than that, let's see here. That's pretty much in terms of top 9 that I wanted to go over today. The last one that I'm going to show you guys here is going to be resources. So I'm going to just type them in here. If you come into HubSpot, this is a great one. Again, if you want to look at, their product, get a demo, phenomenal things. I always just go down here and I grab their blog. And I'll tell you, anything you want to know. They got tons of stuff to do, how to do market research, sales plans. They got templates. They have marketing stuff. 278 social media holidays for your content calendar. Like I said, tons and tons of resources here. So take a look at marketing companies, look at their blogs. They often provide great resources there. Entrepreneur.com. I love these guys. I'll tell you what, they got some great stuff. I mean, that, Forbes, any of the big fish out there, they usually produce some really, really good pieces of material. Again, this is about what, a 30-second, 40, no, maybe a couple minute read here. Talk about some of the tips, creating a strategy with purpose. Data is a huge thing. Create a podcast. You can see that's going to be a big one. Personalize your content. So a lot of what we already talked about, again, reinforced here. And again, they oftentimes provide some great tips. So, subscribe to this stuff. Get on their newsletter. They provide some great content. Search engine journal. I think a lot of us in the marketing industry use this. Some of this might be over the average business owner's head because some of it does get fairly technical, especially when they talk about funnels and, data analytics and different platforms and this and that. But I'll tell you what, as a whole, great material on, how to, and I actually shared this one on our own social media page, but this will tell you, talk about some of the things that Google's up to, what they're doing, lots of flash, lots of ads, but just try to get through that. But you'll see lots of stuff in there. You may not understand it all, but pick up what you can. You'll start to familiarize yourself with this over time, and it'll be worth its weight in gold. So subscribe to their newsletters at Search Engine Journal. And then last but not least, I think I grabbed a couple entrepreneur articles, but again, start your marketing and advertising plan. I always tell clients this, really from a marketing and advertising standpoint, you really need to start this planning about September. That's when we do it. We always have our first retreat or our first little conversation, pieces around marketing for 2022 in September. I'll tell you, to me, it never seems like it's early enough. I always feel like I need to start it sooner than that. But when you start doing this stuff in advance, if you're just now starting on December 14th, I can tell you, it can be a little stressful. But if you start planning earlier, you start getting little things out there like organizing your budget, trying to see what worked this year, what didn't work, those kind of evaluation, like, double, triple checks on things. They can go a long way for you. So I would encourage, start your marketing planning early, really get out there and start putting together what did, or like I said, what did or didn't work. And then start looking at, okay, what do we want to do different this year? Where do we want to go with this? How do we want to go with this? There's any number of ways to help yourself be successful. The one thing that I think we did not cover yet, and I meant to plug this in at a number 10, was on data. You really need to make sure that you understand your analytics. If you have not done this already as a business owner, there's absolutely no reason why you can't go take a simple Google Analytics course. I mean, some of them are really quick. They're about an hour long. You can go to Udemy. You can go to a variety of little sites out there. They do quick little analytics courses out there to help you really understand what you're looking at. Because, and I stress this to clients, you can't know what to do. If you don't know where you've been, how do you know where you're going to go? What if that advertising campaign that you did on Facebook may not have yielded you any clients yet, but what if all of a sudden, man, you just dismissed it, you canceled that program, and 6 months later, boom, you landed 3, 4, 5 leads, and they made you a boatload of money. And here now you've missed out on all that time. Time is the one variable we can't get back. So really think about that. You know, make sure you understand your analytics. Take a Google Analytics course. That's going to be so super helpful for you. And it's really going to help shape your business into the future.